Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is a video all about how I part my own hair to do DIY knotless braids just like these. So if you've always wanted to know how to part your own hair and get them looking professional, then keep on watching. Ooh. I feel like I need to really prepare myself for this. I have a long weekend ahead of me because I am about to put my hair in knotless braids. I'm going to split this into two videos. This video is going to be all about how I part my hair because honestly, the parting, the sectioning, the parting of the hair when you do it on your own head is the hardest part and the part that actually takes the longest. And then the next video is going to be more about the actual braiding itself, how I feed in the hair, how I make sure that the braids are nice and long and how they're all the same length, the braiding hair that I use, etc, etc, etc. So we're now in my bedroom. This is my little setup for how I can see the back of my head very easily. So basically I've got a small mirror in front of me here, and then I've got a bigger mirror behind me, which means that I can look in this mirror, so I can obviously see the front of me, but I can also see the back of me because of the reflection that is in that mirror in here. So I can see the front and the back of me in this mirror here. If I wasn't filming this whole process, I would literally be sat here the whole time that I was parting my hair, the whole time that I'm braiding it. I'd have all the tools that I need on the bed in front of me here. I would have the braided hair laid out by the side of me, and I would just be working my way through. I can see the front, I can see the back, I can see the sides if I need to, you know, I can just see everything that I need. And if I needed to see the other side of my head, I can literally just move the mirror. I can just move the mirror around so that I can see all angles of my head. Normally, I kind of just go row by row and figure it out as I go in terms of how thick the rows are going to be and how many braids they're going to be. But this time I'm being a little bit more strategic about it. I know that, so I've just parted off the back section like this. I know that in this section, I'm going to need to do 3 rows of braids. Normally I do 2. But I'm going to do 3 rows in this back section, and then across the front I'm going to do 5 on each side. And I'm going to plan those rows out before I start braiding, whereas before I would just section off a row and all of my hair will be up, and then I would braid that row. Then I'll section off the next row and then all my hair will be up. But this time I'm sectioning this section. I know that I'm splitting this into 3, and I'm going to split that into 3 now and keep those sections separated. And then when I get to this part, I'm going to section off the 5 rows before I start braiding. So this time I'm going to be like, I'm going to plan it out a little bit more. I've sectioned from ear to ear, and now I'm kind of trying to just measure out with my comb where 3 even sections are going to be. This is going to be my first row. So to keep that separate for now, I'm just going to braid it up. Doesn't have to be super neat, it's just to keep it out of the way whilst I sort out the next 2 rows. And we're splitting this in half. And that is definitely wonky. It's definitely gone up on this side. So we're gonna fix that. Now I have the back row, the back 3 rows sectioned off. Let me show you my little sections. 1 row, you can't really see because of the way I braided it, but we've got 1 row, 2 rows, and 3 rows. And just having it sectioned off ready to go means that I can work my way through that section without now having to worry too much about partings. Obviously I've got the individual braids that I need to do, but to be honest, that part isn't too bad. It's getting the straight lines across that is the hard part. Okay, we're making progress. We have 3 rows down. Let me show you what it's looking like in the back so far. Ooh, look at those partings. You can see that my hair is in like a brick effect. So now that I've got the braids in, I can show you. So I started off with 3. Then the next row, I put the partings in the middle of the braid below. And then again, for the next row, I put the partings in the middle of the braid below. And that just means that when they lay flat, there's not any like awkward gaps. And the more braids I do, obviously, the more that the partings are going to be covered. Let's section off the top half. First, what I want to do is get my middle part and kind of go from there, because to be honest, the top and the front is the part that you want to look the best, because that's the part that kind of shows the most. So for this top half, I'm going to work top down, not for the braids, but for the parting. Like, I'm gonna work everything around this middle section so that everything kind of falls in line. I've worked from bottom up before, and then this part is like kind of wonky in a weird shape. So I'm trying to avoid that this time. Then you need to kind of figure out how big each section is gonna be. So like I said, I want 5 and I want them to be nice and equal. So I'm kind of just one, 2, 3. Like kind of just trying to figure out how big I want these sections to be. Okay, so what I have done to start is sectioned off the very top bit. So this is going to be like split in half, and one side is going to go that way and one side is going to go that way. But this is just a really good way to start because, and I've done like at the back, it's like curved. So then the rest of the braids can continue the curve around, if that makes sense. So I'm going to like keep this section out of the way, and this is going to be my base. And now because it's 5 parts I want on each side, it's kind of hard to get it exactly equal. But now that I've sectioned off the very middle part, what I can do is split this in half and then split it in half again to get the additional 4 sections. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. And then what I do, once I've got a section that I think is feeling and looking good, I go around and I split the section to see how thick it is and kind of make sure that it's matching up with the ones below. So right now I feel like this is looking decent. I kind of make sure that it's looking the same all the way around. This is what we're looking like so far. We've got these 3 and it's looking the same on the other side. I just love this. This is so much better than doing it how I did before and just like figuring out as you go along. And then when you get to braiding, you only have to focus on braiding. You don't have to worry about parting your hair because all of it is already parted. So I'm just gonna check that this section is okay and I'm happy with like the thickness of the section. I feel like I'm actually gonna have to make this middle bit slightly bigger. I feel like we need to just add a little bit of hair. Like so. And a little bit on this side. Like so. Everything is sectioned off. Why have I never done it like this before, honestly? Because now, like, even if I take a break, I know that all my sections are done and all I have to do is just get back to braiding. Okay, so now we need to maintain the brick effect that we have on the bottom 3 rows. And I find it's easiest to do this if you start in the middle of the back of your head and then work your way to the front. So you'll see here that the middle braid is, the braid below is like right in the middle of my head. So I'm kind of gonna go in with a middle part here. So I line it up directly in the middle of the box below and then just part straight up. That's looking good to me. So we're working with this side to keep the brick effect. I'm then going to line up in the middle of the next braid and go straight up. And then we have a square, which should be pretty much the same size as the row below. And then I'm ready to braid this bit of hair. I'm gonna go over to the next braid, part in the middle of that section. And then here, there's obviously not any braids below, but what I do is just try and make the width of the braid as close as possible to these ones behind. We've got to the last section. As you can see on the back, as I've got closer to the top, I've kind of been doing like angled squares on the back just because of the curve so that I can fit the braids around the curve without having to make any like super awkward shapes. So it's not perfect, obviously, doing it myself, but I try to follow this pattern as closely as possible. Okay, so I've sectioned off all of these parts. As you can see, oh, where are we? These back 3 are kind of like a different shape. This one's more of a triangle shape, and these are like half squares, half triangle. I don't really know what you would call that, but it's just so that I can keep the curved shape going, rather than these being all squares and then the ones underneath being round. And I've literally just copied that from seeing professional braiders on TikTok and stuff, and just paying attention to the braiding pattern that they use on the top. So I'm gonna finish up braiding this last section. I think I've got 7 braids. That should take me about an hour. And I'll be back to show you the final look. I'm so excited to be done. Ah! We are done, finally. The braids are long. Like I said, there will be another video coming up, so you will see them properly in that video. But let's see the partings. Let's do a close-up of the parts. Do you know what, guys? To be honest, I feel like I could have done a better job. I love how the front looks. I think the front looks really good. But I do think I could have done a better job towards the back. I just feel like the rows aren't as even as what I could have made them. But, you know, that's just me being the perfectionist that I am. Overall, I'm really happy with it. I really like the size of the braids that I did. So if you want this size, what I recommend doing, again, 3 rows below your ears, 5 rows above your ears. So as you can see, I've got 5 across the front, 5 on the other side, and then below my ears, this is 3 rows. So I hope you found this breakdown of the 2 different braiding videos helpful, like one for parting and one for actually braiding. It is quite a difficult video to film whilst trying to make the braids actually look good, and because it's just like such a long hairstyle to do. So filming and getting it done is a lot, but I hope it came out okay and I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you found this helpful. If you use this method to do DIY braids yourself, please let me know how it goes in the comments. Please send me pictures in the DMs. I would love to see it. And yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.